Mexican President Enrique Pena Nieto is expected to outline his plans for the country's future during this week's State of the Union address. For more on this, Manuel Suarez, he's the economist in residence at the American University School of International Service. Good to see you again. Before we get to the State of the Union, this whole TV thing, your thoughts?
Well, it was considered that it was necessary to help the people who still have the old-fashioned TVs are the poor segment of the population. You will see a television set in every household in Mexico.
Yeah, you get rid of the old ones, put in the new ones. The government pays for this, I imagine, and there are a lot of critics about it, as you just heard.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was considered that it was necessary because we already have a serious poverty problem. This would set them back. And it was very costly to continue transmitting in both systems. So at the end, this appeared to be the less costly solution.
I see. Interesting. Let's get to the economy. The State of the Union, it's obviously going to come up, the economy. A lot of people were expecting fantastic, great things out of Mexico. It has not worked out that way whatsoever. What went wrong?
Well, several things, actually. First of all, we have a decelerating industrial sector in the U.S. And if you look at the correlation between the Mexican economy and the U.S. industrial sector, the correlation is very high, very close, particularly since NAFTA was finalized. The second element is a fall in the mining sector, particularly oil. We are producing 700,000 barrels of oil less than we did in the average between 1994 and 2014. It's falling very fast.
But look, so what? Oil prices have plummeted 70, 80%. I mean, it doesn't matter that oil prices, you wouldn't want to produce a lot of oil if you're going to lose money producing it. I mean, that's what some would argue. And even then, we've heard this excuse before, right? Because you and I talked about the reforms on the energy sector. Yes. They took place. The net result so far, we are still unclear as to what the benefit of that is today.
Oh, that's a long-term result. This is not going to change things immediately. It will take a decade at least. But you have a serious problem in the public finances of the government because 1/3 of the budget are revenues from oil. So you have to make up that hole, and you can make that hole only raising taxes, lowering government spending, all of which is bad for growth, or increasing debt.
So what's the president going to say at the State of the Union that's going to, I guess, appease the critics out there who want to see more growth?
Well, first of all, he's going to say that this is not Mexico's problem. Basically, it's an international problem.
They can blame the U.S.
The U.S. is a big culprit because if you look at the way the U.S. dollar has appreciated vis-a-vis every other currency, it has been amazing. As a matter of fact,
but hold on, that benefits Mexico when the U.S. dollar is up and they're creating stuff and their manufacturing sector would benefit from a stronger dollar, wouldn't it?
No, yes and no, because we are intertwined. We produce together. So if the dollar goes up, in this case, since the policy of adjusting interest rates has not started, and we are flooding the markets with money all over the world, the results for Mexico are perverse. So when you have bad news in the U.S., like industrial production is not going well, or you revise the GDP estimates down, that hits Mexico in the wrong way.
Okay. If I'm sitting in Mexico and I'm hearing the speech, I say, that's fine, blame the U.S., blame the rest of the world. I mean, that's fine. But ultimately, doesn't it come down to the leadership, the presidency, in making the reforms and making the changes, adjustments necessary, despite what's happening around the world? The responsibility and the fault falls on the presidency, doesn't it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And he has done, this government has done the reforms. But these reforms will take a long place to start generating the benefits.
He's going to ask for more patience.
Well, he has no choice, unfortunately, because there are not immediate results here. And on top of which, he has to adjust very carefully for next year's budget in order not to increase debt.
Will there be budget cuts very quickly?
Oh, yes, there will be. The government is proposing a plan to budget from zero every expenditure. So instead of just looking at the marginal increases, you go down to zero, and every entity and every department has to justify its very existence.
Yeah. Well, nobody likes budget cuts. Don't tell my boss that. Professor, it's good to see you. Thank you very much
Likewise.
on this topic.